guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther. I am like just absolutely overwhelmed emotionally right now, and I am pretty good at compartmentalizing and stuffing that down. I've done it my whole life. And I'm just like overwhelmed with my mother's side, including herself, keeping so many secrets from me. I mean, I'm sitting here remembering my Catholic grandmother. She was on my dad's side, my dad's mother. She was very, very involved with the Catholic Church. She always went on retreats, held group meetings with women, young and old, and was very, very active with handing out communion to older people that couldn't get out of their house. And she was just really the lifeline of many different communities and our own family. And I'm just like still so hurt that, you know, a Catholic woman would take me to a Native American Chief White Eagle, about half an hour or so down the road, every now and then, to just keep me in touch with my native roots. And I do really feel that deeply. And, you know, my grandfather, it's funny because he was trying to figure out what percentage Native American I am. And I study psychology and astrology, and I look at those topics kind of like a scientist would with DNA and blood. Only you need to realize that you're not just 50% of your father and 50% of your mother. That's not how it works. Now, I've looked into many hundreds of birth charts at this point, and I have branched off of my own. I've looked into both sides of the family now. I'm starting to not only create a family tree within Ancestry.com, but I'm also plugging that in, of course, to my astrology apps and looking at their natal chart placements. And so I am finding where my energies come from. I have, most of my mother's side have Capricorn moons and Aries. There's a lot of Pisces birthdays, a lot of Pisces ego birthdays month, and there's a lot of Aries in Capricorn, and they live in Kentucky in the hills. And it's hilarious hearing my grandmother's, would be my great aunt, she, the oldest sister of 6, she was telling stories about how they would climb the mountains and act like goats. And I'm just like, yeah, oh, I feel that, and I can see that in the birth charts, actually. And I am very, very much so, I would say, only my thinking, honestly. I mean, you can see that within nurture, how you were raised. And so my thinking is Aquarius, INTJ, 11th house, and I very much so get my researching skills and thinking from my dad's side, but really, truly, the rest of me is my mother's side. And it's amazing to actually see that in the birth chart. I just got my DNA kit today from Ancestry.com, and I don't know how reliable it is, but I'm going to take it and see. And honestly, you can, you know, I try to make everything a science, and nothing is an exact science. I mean, everything is on percentage scales, and it's a big spectrum of things. So I'm just like overwhelmed right now with that mother. My Chiron is in, the wounded healer is in Cancer in the 4th house, and I have just so much wounding from my mother, from my childhood up until I was 5 to currently this day. I mean, she crossed my boundary, and I literally had to block her again after 15 years of not speaking to her. I just cannot deal with the mentality, the person that she is, the lack of responsibility, the in how they live their lives, their gifts. I mean, Native Americans are extremely gifted when it comes to the spiritual realm. I name my business Underwater Panther because it's a Native American myth. It's a creature, it's a panther that, you know, it can be seen as a sea creature. It's kind of like the goat. It's kind of like the Capricorn. Capricorn's half sea, half land creature, and that is the underwater panther in panther form. And this panther can travel between dimensions, and I feel that very deeply. I'm very, very intuitive. I'm very, very sensitive to energy, people's energy field, where they're at emotionally, mentally, in their psychology, in their spirituality. I am a projector in the human design. I've studied the human design very deeply, that system, and I'm a projector, actually. And so my energy is a lot different than most. I'm a Pisces. There's like 1 in every 200. We're supposedly like a very, very minute percentage of the population. I've never really fit in anywhere. I just don't fit in. And it's, you know, the Aquarian age, the Aquarius, they are like Aries in the sense that they're very independent in who they are. They know that they're a very unique individual, and they like to express that uniqueness and their individuality. It's a fixed sign, so they're very fixated on their own way of thinking, and they love to research. They do their own research instead of following the crowd. And we are in the age of Aquarius. The truth comes to light. This is the age of information, and it's not just about information. There's so much disinformation, malinformation. I don't know what all terms they've come up with nowadays, but it's really about wisdom. The water bear pouring out wisdom, the water, sharing that knowledge with others, making sure everyone is on the same page with information. And that is what community is all about, making sure everyone is on the same page and connected. And the network spreads very, very far and wide. The 11th house is more about not immediate connections, but further out connections, networking across the world, across cultures. And, you know, there is such a wound in the feminine globally, and I definitely have that personally. I'm very wounded in my feminine, my mother energy, and you know, I've lived my entire life not to be my mother, and I take it very seriously. I'm very protective of my children. I'm very nurturing in the same breath. I spend a lot of time with teaching my kids how to not follow the crowd and be proud of who they are and understand who they are at a very deep psychological, emotional, spiritual level. And you know, this is a beautiful age that we are in. I greatly admire the Aquarian energy. They love theories, and they're like, they don't exactly have a mechanical aptitude like the fire signs, for example, but they're very mechanical in their head with thinking and theories and philosophy and understanding morals and principles. They're very, very, very loyal. They're humanitarians, and they want to help other people understand their own unique individuality, but also to never forget that we are all connected. There is a global consciousness. It's a collective consciousness. And each individual, the higher they raise their own consciousness, that impacts the global consciousness. And I truly, truly believe that very deeply. And that's just kind of been my journey in my life. And I just so deeply feel so wounded emotionally with that mother. It's like not understanding and not being told stories about who my family on my mother's side is and was. It's the heritage, it's lineage, it's living, you know, having those who passed away before you, they live on through you. And how are you able to tune into that, into your own gifts and traits and personality and soul and spirit without passing down that information? And that's not just on an individual level that I'm concerned with. It's a global thing. I know that many women are just so wounded, and it's just like, it hurts. But I'm working feverishly trying to understand and uncover my own family, my own Native American lineage. They all have gifts. My grandmother's sister all have gifts that I have. And it's like, you know, the intuition, the the oldest one told me that she has, I don't know if it's she thinks that it was people that have passed on in her own family that talk to her still. But I had an experience right before my grandfather died on my mom's side, my mom's father. I woke up and something told me to quit my job, break up with my boyfriend then, move back home, do all that, but before you do that, go talk to your grandfather. And it was like, I took it as a man's voice, and I took it as it was literally God or Jesus. Like, that's what I thought, because I was raised Catholic. And she told me quite a few stories where she had that happen to her, and that's a gift. And I very much have had that same experience in my own life, and I know it's real. And I had a few-hour conversation with my grandfather, and the very next day he passed away. He had a massive heart attack, and I did not question that voice whatsoever. I immediately took action, no question. And there's just gifts that are passed down through our, you know, it's a lot of people just look at it like, oh, you know, physical traits. How tall are you? Your body type, your eye color, your hair color. That's important, yes, but there's also very spiritual, psychological, everything is passed down, inside and out. And I'm just like, I'm happy that I've made that connection, and I've heard a few stories that it's very life-changing, it's affirming. Yeah, I want to hone in on that, and yeah, that's just all I really had to say today. So thank you for listening to my journey. It's been tough. I feel extremely emotional right now. It's a very deep, the mother wound is there's no other connection in the world. You know, becoming a mother myself filled a lot of voids in my heart. It literally felt like I filled holes in my heart, because that mother-daughter bond, that mother-child bond is unlike anything else in this world. And it's the most beautiful connection, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm a woman and a mother, but it is such a beautiful experience. And not having that with my own mother is terrible. I mean, it was awful. I can't even begin to describe things I've sorted out in my life, and I'm still sorting it out. I'm 36 years old, and I know I'm not the only one, but yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you